Give me just a second. Whoa. I just did Aries reading. And before I go in with your Fae blessings, I did just want to point out I still have available on Patreon your tarot reading that just passed for the full moon in Libra. Just because the full moon passed doesn't mean you can't learn things after the fact from the reading, okay? So it'll be up there for $35 on Patreon. And I have your rites, rituals, spell work, and incantations already posted to Patreon too for your zodiac sign from now till May. So go ahead and check that out. I think I said like, share, and subscribe. If not, do that. Ring the bell because I want you guys to get notified when I have readings up and available. And if you would like to book a session with me, definitely do so right now. And if you're like, oh, dang, I want a live reading, but I can't get one, go ahead and book me anyway, and I can do a recorded video session for you. So, through my book link, and I can just deliver it to your email. I know. And it's the same price. So that's why I kind of price them a little high for recorded, because they're going to be recorded anyway. So give me a moment here, because I just wrapped up Aries reading, and you know, I went over how it's their second house, but for you, Taurus, there's a massive thing going on in your second house. I'm sorry, not your second house, your first house of self. It's funny. For Aries, it was going through a transformation with their money and their inner security, but this is about consciousness for you. This isn't just about any kind of consciousness, because we got Mercury going pre-shadow in your sign, which you're not really feeling right now, but you'll feel it once May 3rd hits. And there's an eclipse coming on the horizon at the end of this month. And my thing is eclipses are funny because for me, they don't necessarily impact me as long as they do with others. It might be a frequency thing. But for you, I do feel like this will impact you quite a bit. Because it's almost like, even though it's not going to take place in your sign, this eclipse is still going to more or less happen in your sun season. And when I've seen that happen... Oh, hold on. Too many guys. When I've seen that happen, big shifts happen for most people around eclipse season. But for you, Taurus, you don't just have an eclipse happening in your sun sign. You know, even if it's not your natal moon sign, it's still happening during the time of your sun sign. So it's like the sun and the moon are in juxtaposition of each other. And when the moon has an eclipse like this coming at the end, and the sun is in this beautiful season of Taurus, which is all about growth, vitality, strength, you know, wandering, meandering, and enjoying oneself in its fixed energy and sensuality. The thing is things can get a little muddled when we got Mercury in there coming retrograde on May 3rd. And then to top that off, we got Mars most likely, and I say most likely moving into Taurus at this time because last time I checked a couple of weeks ago, he was still in Aries. So, which tells me, and he's a fast moving planet. And I know I explained last week, Mars and Aries tend to feed each other, but we do have Venus hopefully moving into Taurus. And I say hopefully because I have yet to check her placement today. But last time I checked it, she was in Pisces, then she moved back into Aries, and it was a whole thing, but she should be moving steadily into Taurus. And Venus in Taurus with Mars is interesting, to say the least. Okay, hold on, that's reverse. We're not taking that. Show me for Taurus, please, my beautiful Seelie spirits of the Fae energy. Show me what you would like to know for Taurus this week as we go in to... Ooh. Okay. Oh, we got a lot there. Okay, that card still isn't open yet. That one isn't open yet. Oh, wow, Taurus. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and explain these three. I normally wouldn't do this, but there is a lot going on in your sign, so I'll just go for it. The thing is because I also have Uranus direct in Taurus, which Uranus in Taurus has kind of been in there off and on for the last couple of years. But Uranus is one of those planets that he's the expansion of freedom and liberation. And when you have Mercury going retrograde and you have Mars and you have Venus heading into Taurus all at the same time with the sun there, it's still going to be a good season with the sun, Venus, and Uranus. But the interesting spin on it is you've also got Mercury kind of being given leeway here with the Uranus. And you have Mars and Uranus feeding each other, and then Venus trying to like kind of tame Mars a little bit. So, and it's interesting because the Unseelie Fae card came up, which the Unseelie Fae are notorious for being the Fae spirits that most people are known and on, you know, other platforms they're afraid of, because they can be dangerous. I normally don't recommend people to work with them, but this energy is a little different. This takes their energy and gives it a clear, concise message of they are kind of rebellious. They're rascals, they're pirates, they're this energy that it has to do with respect and self-respect for oneself. And you have to learn with this card on how to say no, when to say no, because saying no is in a way doing you a service. Now it could be, and usually when they want you to say no to something, it has to do with something you really truly don't want to do in your heart, but you're doing it to make someone else happy. And when these Fae come in, the Unseelie Fae, they're coming in to give you this rascal, rebellious energy to help you break through certain barriers that are going to keep you where you need to be. Now, since Mercury is not full shadow, this actually is a good time for this to be popping up. Now, if this popped up during retrograde, it'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ. But because it's not, and it's pre-shadow, I'm like, okay, I could see this actually working out a lot better, because this is also chaos energy, chaos magic. The Unseelie Fae are magicians of chaos, and they're tricksters. So this is Mercury kind of popping through saying, I'm already showing up here with the Unseelie. But to say they're nothing to be scared of is inaccurate. But when you know what they're trying to tell you, you get it, okay? So they're just trying to show you how you love yourself and how saying no to things is showing love to yourself. And that's kind of a lesson that Taurus, I'm not saying you don't know. I think you know it rather well. But you're so genteel sometimes that people forget that you can say no and it's okay. Like, hold on. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hot. I started doing Aries energy. But for you, this is about, again, consciousness. I believe the last message I did was also about consciousness for you, but it wasn't about saying no. It was learning about something else. And it's just like, okay, so we have this evolutionary phase now. Now, with the Unseelie energy, it's rebellion, and who better to learn about rebellion than from Scorpio and Sagittarius? The Unseelie Fae want to work with anybody, it'd be those two. Or maybe Gemini. I could see Gemini being a rebel too. But Gemini kind of it's so funny. Gemini is, I feel, a very emotional earth sign. Air sign, because, and I say that because whenever they go rebellious, it's usually due to some kind of emotional incident, But I would tell you guys, definitely understand that this is an energy that is meant about being honored and respected, but in a way that can cause chaos and can be harmful. So I want you to take it in stride, because the thing is, Taurus, is you being the bull, you understand you can cause a lot of damage. And so that's why I'm saying take it in stride. If you feel yourself kind of getting worked up and you need to leave the room, I would say leave the room, because anybody who doesn't want to leave you alone is just asking for the bull to come out. And when the bull, here in Texas, we have a saying, you get the bull, you get the horns. And I've never really had to use that, but I feel like for you guys, I have to, because I feel like people rile you up in your 12th house where Eris and Chiron are, and thank the gods, Mercury, Mars, and the sun are out of there, because they were really agitating you last time. But now this is different. It's beyond agitation. There's a bit of aggression there in your 12th house of endings and new beginnings, but also there's pain in there too with Chiron, and Chiron is trying to do his job of just making sure we process what's truly hurting us. And for you, it's not only painful in the sense of like, oh, I stubbed my toe. It's painful in the heart. But it's like you're enraged and then you're in pain. And that's not a good energy to rile up. Like when people start riling you up like that, that's when these energies come through and they do create chaos. But in some weird way, they bring their own order to it. Hang on, sorry, Mother Isis, I gotta use you to hold this deck up. So, this card up. Okay, so we have that. Then we have, this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. It is a blessing from a fairy determined to help you. So this is not a fairy godmother, but this is a fae being that wants to help you get through this situation. Now, this fae being is usually neutral in magic, more Seelie court energy, but the way the fae courts work, and this is personally through what I have experienced while working with them, is they have to work together. Yes, the Seelie court does have its own factions, its own thing, but when it comes to Mother Gaia, if they can't agree to disagree, they go by the old ways, normally. If they can, or they find someone to bridge the gap and compromise, they will. And so the beauty of this is you can, this energy is more Seelie than unseelie, but regardless, this energy is here to help you. And when I worked with this card, when I first got it in the deck, like, this is a card that comes to you when you need high fae magic that you cannot access to help you. And this person, this fae being, is coming through, I would say, for the next month, because I remember this card did pop up for someone else too last week when I did the reading, but they're coming through again now, and they're coming here to help do the magic that you may not be able to do. They are doing for you in the ethers. So this is a time where if they're determined to help you, first off, you need to sort out what exactly you want them to help you with. And by asking and invoking the goddess Freya first, because like I say, she is committed and connected to all things fairy. Or if you don't feel comfortable with her, you can do a Celtic goddess that is also associated with the Fae and or Irish, the Tuatha. I never can say it right. It's my heritage and I still can't say it right. Sorry guys, but it's so frustrating to me. I'm like, I want to get it right. Anyway, you can use the gods of the Celtic pantheon that are associated with the Fae too. Or in this case, Taurus, you need to figure out what you need to get done first. If it's the little things that need to get done first that will help manifest towards big things, have her work on that. Okay? Because she's going to cast the magic to help open things that you need to be opened. Okay? So there's that. 2, you can probably still use her during the retrograde, but just know there may be delays. This is going to be our first retrograde where we're going to pull cards. I may just pull them for the month for you guys because I can't see myself doing a whole week of card readings just because I know how Mercury is with me in my business, and he likes to delay me by a whole month, and then I have to restart all over again. So we'll see, but we're just going to put her right there because here's the thing. She can bridge the gap between the unseelie and how they want to help you and then this. And so if you ask for, let's say Seelie court magic, which is pure kind of love, light magic, but maybe they want to add in a little spice, you need to figure out what that spice is and whether you agree with it. And if you don't, how she can kind of change it up for you in her casting abilities to help you. Because again, these are blessings that are here, that are coming in for you for the week. You might as well use them, right? So there's that kind of interesting connection. Hold on, let's go ahead and put that. And then you have, this is an interesting card. So this is a blessing to undo an unfortunate grease. Now grease, and this is according to the book by Lucy Cavendish when I first read this book, it's also used in other sectors. Some people use it in hoodoo, some people use it in voodoo, but usually voodoo has grease bags. But grease bags are, they're not always like hexing workings, but they can be. In terminology of the Fae, this is in terms of a hex and or curse. Now, don't panic. Don't panic, because I normally don't like this card coming up, but if the energy's supported, it's supported and it's meant for you to undo it. So how you undo a grease, and you can actually ask and invoke this energy to undo it for you, to work with this card. But the time has come for some, and here's the thing, a grease is not always a hex or curse done by a witch or caster. It could be an intention from a friend that's negative. It could be intrusive. It could be, on Witch Talk, there's this whole thing where people are posting in the pagan community how Christians pray for pagans, but they do it against their free will, which is actually a curse. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Because if you're doing magic and you're doing it against someone's free will of choice, that is a hex or curse according to the old ways. So, and the Fae work with the old ways. So the reason I'm saying this to you guys is don't panic, because it may not always be a hex or a curse. It might just be someone prayed something and it's not in your will to do it, okay? So what you do is there is this energy that says to undo. So what you can do is you can ask and invoke this energy of the fairy determined to help you with the help of Goddess Freya to help you undo this energy. Now, what is done in terms of whatever was manifested against you, it manifested, but you learn from it. So the beauty of this is you get to undo it, and you may not be able to reclaim that time back, but you might be able to move forward in a different direction and or pathway. So I want you guys to really think about when you have felt people energetically siphon your energy off or stop you or put negative projections on you and whatnot. Did those people really mean well? Or were they putting it on because that's how they feel about themselves? Because normally when people reveal their negative energies or whatever, it usually has to do with whatever they're going through at the time. But, sorry, I need to get my hair cut, y'all. I'm like, my hair, it's so weird right now. That's why I won't show myself on cameras. I apologize if I'm messing with my hair too much. But I want you guys to really understand that this is nothing to be afraid of. And if you need a boost, don't forget, I have the rites, ritual, spell work, and incantations from Mother Isis available on Patreon, which usually, fun fact, most of her stuff comes from the space of unconditional love, where we can actually use this energy to ground down these Fae blessings, including this one too. This one. Maybe not so much this one, but we can learn from it. But these two definitely, and it'll enhance it even more. So that's kind of the beauty of that. If you know a cleansing ritual, great. If you don't, I might just put one on my Patreon. I've kind of been feeling called to it because there's been a hell of a lot of negativity around. And I am going to have my lilac guide posted. I just haven't had the time to do it yet. I've been busy, so I apologize, you guys. I got put in a wedding at the last minute, Taurus. So I'm having to gather everything and then do all this on the back and work, and it's just, I'm exhausted. So I'm doing these readings when I can, when I get the minute to do it. But yeah, guys, so I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up that this is nothing to be scared of. And you guys are probably like, well, how can you say that? A curse is a curse and blah, blah, blah. Curses are real, but it's not just like, oh, they're real, but they're only real if you give them power. It's not just that. Like, that's easier said than done. The truth is yes, can they happen? Yes. Do they unfortunately happen to people? Yes. But when the divine sees you trying to work your shiitake out, it's going to come through for you and break down this energy. But you first have to do the work and say, okay, well, what did I learn from said experience? Am I annoyed? Yes. Because sometimes when people cast against you, it is rather annoying, especially if they do it repetitively. But even then, you have the support from the Fae and the divine coming through to say, nope, we're going to barrier that up. Nope, that grease isn't going to work anymore. So, it's kind of like there's really nothing to be scared of, Taurus, because for the first time in a while, you've got Uranus, and actually you could even use him to liberate you from this grease if you needed to. Yeah, you could if you needed to. If you really, really needed to, you could. You could ask him and invoke him to free you from that grease, and it will probably work. But this is where I want you to figure out, okay, well, if this is true and there was something or somebody put negative intentions or negative energy out there on whatever you're doing, whatever, I want you to think, what are you going to do with your newfound freedom? Are you going to go back to the way the things were before? Were they working out for you? Or are you going to shift, take perspective, and get a new plan on how